Jack Reacher as deceased, retired Army.
Bronze Star, Silver Star, and a Purple Heart.
What in God's name is a guy like that doing in Margrave?
What's a guy like that doing in jail? Zip ties?
Cuffs didn't fit him.
You guys recycle.
You are looking at the new Jack Reacher. Oh yeah, Tom Cruise may have played him in 2 Reacher movies, but this guy right here, Alan Ritchson, sorry, Alan, is the new Jack Reacher. This series is premiering on February 4th on Prime Video. And Alan, we are so happy to have you with us on the Morning Blend this morning. How are you?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm great. I'm glad to be talking to you.
Well, we're glad to have you. You know, I watched a couple of these episodes. I was privileged enough to screen them ahead of time. And man, you are a bad you-know-what.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, you know, with enough writing and hair and makeup, you know, anybody can look like one these days.
No, seriously, you do such a great job. Tell me about stepping into the shoes of a character that people already have such an image attached to, that image being Tom Cruise. How daunting is that for you?
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, you mentioned Tom Cruise. He's an icon. You know, I mean, he's from an era that, you know, we don't quite understand these days. You know, he's a true legend in the film world. So to be mentioned in the same sentence with him is something that you know, it's almost laughable to me. You know, he's somebody that I grew up with and revere. You know, but we have an opportunity to, you know, to revisit these books and tell this story in a way that hasn't been told before. And I think we've really gotten it right. This is a really faithful adaptation. I mean, from his physicality to the humor that he has. It's a fun show. It's a fun show for everybody. And I think we've gotten it right.
Let's talk about your physicality, because you're right. I mean, you fit the Jack Reacher description probably more so than Tom Cruise ever did. No offense to Mr. Cruise, but he's a lot shorter than you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and you know, they looked high and low for the right Reacher, and that was it wasn't the only criteria, but it was a big one. You know, I mean, Reacher is somebody who's often the smartest guy in the room and the most physically imposing, and that's a tough combination to find. And they had to settle with me, you know. So
I don't think they're settling at all. Now, it's based on Lee Child's first novel, Killing Floor. And had you read any of the books prior?
I got into the books during the process. It was about a year-long process getting this part. It was very competitive, took a long time, and like I said, the brilliant minds involved wanted to make sure that they'd gotten it right. So the search for Reacher was arduous, but it gave me time to read the books and get invested. And yeah, at the time there were 24, and I read all 24 before we shot a frame of the show. And you know, I'm a huge fan myself. Yeah. So, you know, it was tough for me because the more I read, the more I fell in love, and the more pressure I felt to get this right, you know.
Now, a lot of people might not know this about you. You actually you grew up in Florida. You grew up in a little town that sounds like Pleasantville, a little town called Niceville. Yeah. I mean, you can't make that up, can you? How was life growing up in Niceville, which is up in what, Okaloosa?
Okaloosa, yeah, it's up in the Panhandle. Well, you know, when people think of Florida, their mind generally runs down to Miami, which was like a 12-hour drive from where I grew up. We're more like Alabama on the beach, you know. But it's great. It's very idyllic. You know, there's the little a hill with flowers that spell out Niceville on your way into town, you know. Nice. And I couldn't wait to get out of town. I wanted to leave, you know, when I was 18, I'm like on the road. I don't know what life has in store for me, but I'm going to find it.
Well, you were very musically inclined as a kid. In fact, you went on to compete in season 3 of American Idol. And I remember watching American Idol back then from the very beginning. Okay. And I actually remember your audition or your time on the show, because you were cut very late in the process. But didn't you like show a little bit more to Ms. Paula Abdul than maybe she was expecting?
Well, maybe she showed a little more to me. I mean, I don't know. You know, the jury's out on that one. You know, but no, she was lovely. She was you know, she was very kind to show the kind of attention that she did. You know, and she really gave me a good shot. But yeah, I was a semifinalist, and that was my first time to Los Angeles, where we taped that show. So being around the kind of energy that those hungry young artists bring to the table was invigorating for me, and that's what got me to move. I mean, I left that experience and said I want to live in LA, and I moved to LA, and and then I tripped into the acting world, and I got lucky stumbling into Aquaman on Smallville. That was my first.
Yes.
That really opened the doors for me.
A lot of people remember you on that series, and that was not even a regular role, I don't think.
No, yeah, I came in season 5. It was one episode, and this has nothing to do with me. I think people anticipated a new superhero on the show, but we set a ratings record. I was told that that episode, and so so it became something that people noticed. Again, it happened very fast for me. I got very lucky.
You were going to be noticed and then some in this role of Reacher, dropping February 4th on Prime Video. Alan, I wish we had more time to talk about your Heart and Armor Foundation. I know you do a lot of work for mental health for the military, and you're so tied to it with your family and even with this role. So congratulations on all that good work you're doing.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. Yeah, check out Heart and Armor, helping veterans everywhere.
All right, and check out Reacher on Prime Video, February 4th.